Uh, is there any questions before we hit the slideshow and get started? No? Okay, let's get started. So what I want to do tonight is I want to go through, you'll get used to me with my slideshow. I'm a visual teacher and I'm a visual learner. I've got over 3,000 slides to share with you to really identify what are the steps within NLP, within the processes, so that you can take these skills away and make your goals happen, make your dreams happen, help the clients in the best way. What I will do tonight is I'll go through the welcome, the housekeeping, what is NLP, and then at the end, I'm going to show you a component about the human needs. And the reason that I'm going to show you that and start off with that is to start to get you already in that coaching framework, to start to listen for and identify the needs in the people that you work with or the people that you live with. So just want to set up that space for you guys to get into that coaching framework. But yeah, let's get started with the slides. As I've already said, a really big welcome. Very excited to be here. My intention is to provide you with that high standard of training where everyone feels safe to explore their vulnerabilities, collapse their limitations, and call forward the time streams of rich possibilities. From this training, I'm really, really proud of this training in a sense of what it's done for people with creating that safety, that safe container for people to drop down their walls and barriers, explore their vulnerabilities, and then for everybody to hold that space so that people get the best out of this training. It is really exciting when we get up to collapsing limiting beliefs and making all of those fantastic shifts. NLP, ultimately, NLP is the study of excellence. So it does provide you with the tools and techniques to understand your potential so you can easily create that fulfillment and the success in your life. So basically, NLP gives you that pathway to self-mastery. Just fixing up my Zoom so I can see everybody. Bear with me. And right up front, NLP, I'm going to go into a lot more detail. NLP stands for Neuro Linguistic Programming. So we're looking at people thinking, the words that they use, and therefore the behavior they get from that. I'm going to go more into detail, but let's skip that for a second. First, I want to cover some of the housekeeping before we get into the fun stuff. And of course, feel free to interrupt, speak up, put your hand up, ask lots of questions. We probably start at 6:30. Bring your dinner, bring your dessert. We will have that 10-ish minute break in between, and then we aim to finish by 9:15, 9:30 Melbourne time. I need you to have that camera turned on so that I can tick a box for the NLPAA, the people who provide you with the certificates about the hours of attendance. So have your camera on, ask plenty of questions, trust the first thing that comes to mind, be prepared to let go of your limitations, just clear and transmute all of that. And actually, I encourage you to begin the assessment today. You'll find the assessment in the NLP menu. So this has already been emailed to you, and no doubt I'll put a link again on the Facebook group. But it's made up of about 48 questions. The answers are in your manual. I will definitely go over the answers throughout this training. And it is due the second last week of our training. So I think that's about the 1st or 2nd of December. What happens at the end is you just hit submit if you do it a digital copy or email it to me. The assessment looks like this. Pretty simple in the way that it presents, pretty simple in the way to answer it. I encourage you to, when we start to get to know each other better, ask the questions on the Facebook group. Feel free to, come together with your fellow students to answer that. I don't need the answers to all be individual and from your point of view. However you answer the questions, I'll actually provide you with how to answer those questions. And it will look just like this. So anytime that you see that purple book on any of the slides, it's a hint that this is an answer to one of the questions. So NLP is a communication framework that uses the language of the mind to consistently achieve our specific and desired outcomes. So what I've noticed from students in the past is they're very happy to take a photo of that, which I encourage you to do. And that way you've got the answer to the question to make it as simple as possible. I think there's one more slide on this. No. Is there any questions about the assessment? Sometimes I've had students in the past go into uni kind of exam freak out. It is not like that at all. It's supposed to be easy. It's supposed to be simple. If you do find yourself getting into a spin, stop, just ask a fellow student what the answer is. Does that kind of bring down the nerves on that side of thing? Yeah. I know, we'll get through the boring stuff, we'll get to the fun stuff. There's a page on my website, which I'll put on the Facebook group. It's taken me hundreds of hours to compile and put together. We have plenty of bonus resources in the replay page. So you'll see that there's videos of mine. It's where I'll put the replay from tonight and all of our training. You will see that there's bonus scripts that I've provided, the ones that I actually use in my coaching sessions. So in the NLP menu, there is a link to pages and pages and pages of free resources. So sometimes people, instead of watching the replay, they'll actually go and look for the video on the topic, and it saves a lot of time instead of watching 3 hours if they want to go over it again. Again, any questions on all of the resources? So far, so good? Yeah, so this training, you will receive 3 certificates at the end. My sense of humour here says what you need to do is fully participate. You must give the activities a go, complete the assessment, laugh at my jokes, and attend all of the nights, and then the certificates are yours. The NLPAA, so the people who are accrediting your certificates, they have standards that are for Zoom training that's different to live training. So you guys actually get a bonus extra 20 hours. If we were in person, they for some weird reason, the training hours are different. So when you get to the end of the training, and we'll go over it again, and anybody after insurance, then these are the hours that we've covered. So 60 hours in person like this, and then there's 60 hours of the pre-training, the assessment, the practices. Yeah, and if you do miss a class, all you need to do is to watch the replay. And if we happen to have done a process in that night, then I just need you to watch the replay, grab hold of a fellow student, record yourself doing that task, that process, and send me a recording of that. And again, I tick a box to say, yep, you've done that process. Is there any questions on any of that so far? No. So I've definitely designed this training for you and people like you. I want to let you know that this is that trusted space that you get to choose your level of engagement for what's comfortable for you. So if you want to be the observer, sit back and take notes. You'll find that I will ask you to share what you've observed from observing. If you're naturally curious, please, please, please ask lots of questions. You paid for this training, absolutely get the most out of it. And the juicy part of life is that we're here amongst like-minded people. So it's such a beautiful space. As I've said before, it's okay to get it wrong. It's okay to be silly. It's okay to have fun. I'm a perfectionist, so I had to fix that slide. And then I'll encourage you as well to let the pieces of the puzzle come together over time. So learning NLP can feel like an abstract painting. Each client that you work with within NLP processes are going to be their own unique canvas. This is not a paint by numbers situation or scenario. Coaching's not like that. So what's happening in this training is I'm going to be teaching you a process, teaching you a process, teaching you a process, And then at some point we get towards the middle of the training, and then I will tell you how to put those processes together based on what the client is presenting. So many times students will say, okay, hold on, where does this fit in? And it's like, it will fit in towards the end once you have all of the pieces of the puzzle. Does that make sense? Because you can imagine, right? Like, no client is ever going to come to you that's like, okay, you're going to do part A, part B, part C. You're going to use all of the tools in the toolkit. Has anybody else found that from other healing modalities where they bring in all of the different pieces and then at the end it's like, yep, I know what I'm doing? Yeah, making sense? So yeah, I absolutely love teaching wellness professionals, people who are spiritually led, people who are holistically minded, and that way when we come together, everybody's pretty much on that same page. It's my job as the trainer to deliver the content in such a way that the unconscious mind just starts to absorb it. And it's a little bit like that pre-training. You've taken on board some of that pre-training where the seed has been planted, and by the time we get to the actual topic, it's like, oh, awesome, this is already familiar. And so we start to really grow in that strength and that confidence in what you're doing. So again, please know that it's my job to deliver this in such a way that it makes sense, mostly at the end. If you have any queries or questions outside of class, please use the Facebook group so everyone can benefit from that question. I absolutely love, adore, encourage that group involvement. So if you find any really fabulous NLP resources, any aha moments, put it on the Facebook page. From my personal experience of learning NLP back in 2012, 2011, I should know that. Yeah, there's friends from life in that group where, yeah, this is such a special place to learn how the mind works, to identify how people's limitations hold them back, to help work out how to encourage people to be their best. And so, what I've noticed from other trainings is, is that they're still having lunches together, they're still catching up. So my intention for this group is to be the same, where you can call on each other, practice with each other, and yeah, like, is that something that you guys want too? Is like that community, that group? Yeah. Cool. A little bit more, then we'll get you guys talking instead of listening to my voice. Please let me know if you're overwhelmed by any of the training, and we can definitely meet up before class or in the breaks to help you let that pressure go if that comes up. However, if you do have any private questions on our NLP journey, you're welcome to contact me, but that is where I'll likely direct you to one-on-one coaching for a breakthrough, to create that safe space to really explore what's going on. So that's where it's like, yeah, I'm definitely here, definitely approachable. Um, but yeah, there's a difference with the training versus the one-on-one coaching. I do set up my training so that people are around like-minded people. And again, please utilize this space to really accelerate your business growth. Everybody here has some level of a business goal, and that's where again from previous trainings, your first training, it's you'll practice with anybody with the very first training. We had people who were doing fertility, people in there that were doing business stuff, all sorts of different things, and it made for a bit of a hodgepodge when it came together. People's minds were in different spaces, and so this training, everybody here has very similar values, and so with that, it means that when we're working on our goals with each and every process, that there's a common value and a common growth towards, yeah, bettering that focus. So most business coaching will cost you somewhere between 12 grand and 40 grand per year. You can definitely make that kind of money with NLP, very easy. Um, but yeah, utilize this space as that network. Okay, and then finally here, before I hand it over to you guys, we will do 60 hours together, plus the 20 hours of pre-training. My advice is to get together between sessions to practice and to explore all of the coaching concepts. Just like that rock star, most mastery comes in after that 10,000 hours. So you've already got that diploma of life, that bachelor of life. This is taking it that one step further. Right, handing it over to you guys. What I'd love to do is to hear your voice. I'm really curious about how you intend to use NLP, if you're like Nicole and Erin with all the yummy goals. I'm going to go around the room and there's 3 questions there. What's your name? What do you do? How do you intend to use NLP? The bonus question is, what are you naturally curious about? I don't want this to feel like that interview. I would much prefer to talk about all of the fun, thought-provoking topics. But yeah, we're going to go around the room. What's your name? What do you do? How do you intend on using NLP? And then, yeah, if you want to add that next one, what are you naturally curious about? Close that one here. That's to the side. I'm going to start with you, Sarah, because you're at the top of my screen.
Oh, thanks for that, Claire. How did I know that was going to happen, eh? All right. Okay. Hi, everybody. My name's Sarah. I'm a conveyancer. I also am a Reiki practitioner. I sit in circle, development circle. And for me, it's all about learning things, personal growth, business growth. And I'm most curious on how all this mind works.
Yeah, thank you for that, Sarah. Imagine that because you said that quite quickly. Sarah's also studying to psychic mediumship on stage on platform.
Yep, I've done lots of events. Yeah, I'd sit in classes. I do classes. I've done some other courses with Claire. Yeah, so Claire's seen me quite grown in that side of things as well. I'm very excited to be here for sure.
Yay! So then we get our sneaky readings from Sarah once we finish NLP.
Nice try, Claire.
Get you all working. It's love it. Thank you, Sarah.
You're welcome.
Erin, you're next on my screen.
Sorry, I muted myself again. So my name is Erin. Hi. So I am a myotherapist and I run a couple of multidisciplinary clinics, like allied health clinics. I recently finished a Bachelor of Health Science. So for me, NLP is just pulling all of this together, like working towards that like health coaching type thing. Still figuring that out, but yeah, the NLP hopefully will pull it all together. What am I naturally curious about? Everything, life, people, everything. Like, I'm naturally introverted, but curious about people. Happy to watch, happy to take note, and yeah, cruise along.
Would we have fun at having a coffee together, just people watching? Say nothing, just people watch.
I think I would be a gold medalist. I love people watching.
Can I check in with you, Erin? Like when you think about who the type of people that like as a Bachelor of Health and Science, like that's a massive
Yeah,
investment. Is there a
yeah.
type of client or solution that you want to work with?
Um, so I work a lot with chronic pain. So the bachelor I completed, my majors were in nutrition and health promotions. So ideally, I'd want to play in that space where people with chronic pain, significant lifestyle issues, just, yeah, kind of that sort of space. Just a lifestyle overhaul type people, I guess.
Oh, cool. Okay, we could definitely play with that. Go
Yeah,
down that rabbit hole.
yeah.
Thank you, Erin. Nicole, you're next on my screen.
Hello, everyone. I'm Nicole. I am currently still stuck in corporate, so I'm a project officer in federal government. So I don't know why I'm still there. And I also part-time am a emotions and metaphysical kinesiologist and recently qualified as a spinal energetics practitioner. So my use of NLP is, well, firstly would be for myself to try to work on my own personal development and growth, and then also understanding that and the process that I've gone through, then utilizing that for my clients to help them and help myself get great goals for them and empowering them to make changes in their life. Naturally curious about, I'm curious as to why, now I forget his name, Bandler and
John?
Grinder, what happened between the two of them? I want to
Yeah.
understand. I'm curious about that.
All right, I'll write that one down. That's a really interesting question. Yeah, we could go into that. It's not in my slides, but remind me, Nicole. Can I quickly check, Nicole, when you've got this beautiful toolkit being created, is there a type of person or solution that you want to work with?
Um, probably women my age, like navigating through like perimenopause and menopause, because I've gone through that and it's been just really mind blowing, not always in a great way, but just feeling like there's not a lot out there that could say this could help you or this could be something can guide you through it. And I think that's where I'd like to go to be able to support women through that.
Yeah, there was a few people nodding then. So yeah, that would be exciting to see that come to fruition. Thank you, Nicole.
Thanks.
Rachel, you're next on my screen.
Hello, I'm Rachel. Thanks everyone for sharing so far. It's really nice to meet you all. What am I doing? I have just recently moved back to Melbourne and am doing a job at RMIT University in Wellbeing and Inclusion. But to resonate with you, Nicole, I literally just left federal government in Canberra. So I feel kind of fresh to the kind of spiritual or healing work. I've sort of just realized that that's where I need to be going. So it's all new. I've started doing the emotions and metaphysical kinesiology course as well. And then I was recommended this one, and it's very up my alley. I think sort of brings me on to the naturally curious question. I think I'm naturally curious about sort of why people do the things that they do. I think I'm sort of person that's like just accepting event, like you could murder someone and I'd be like, but what made you? You know, why? What's going on? So
I love that.
yeah, that's what I'm excited to sort of delve into a bit. I still am mystified by NLP, but yeah, really excited anyway.
That's interesting. Like you when you say mystified by NLP, what I noticed, to be honest with you, is there's NLP and then there's Claire's NLP, which is bringing in all of the spiritual all of the spiritual stuff that's not normally taught. I recently taught NLP masters and got to the end, like, what did you love most about it? And they were like, this bit. And I'm like, that's actually not pure NLP. That's just me blending. So that's to come. But Rachel, when it comes to RMIT, so you're working as a wellbeing person for the students, is that right?
Yeah, so my role is an admin role in wellbeing and inclusion team. So a little bit of student facing, but mainly behind the scenes sort of admin stuff.
And you've just moved to Melbourne, like moved back to Melbourne or moved to Melbourne?
Back to Melbourne, went to Canberra for a year, did a grad program in federal government, and lived there for a year and then came back.
Yeah, so because otherwise there's all of these friends now who are in Melbourne that can make you feel at home.
No, but always good to have new friends, especially people so like-minded. I don't have many friends in the sort of healing space, so it'd be great to meet up with people.
Yay. Thank you, Rachel. Manny.
Hi everyone. So I'm Manny. I'm a massage therapist. So until last year, I was in corporate. I was in corporate for about 15 years, and somehow I stumbled into this profession, and that's another story. But and I started enjoying my massage therapy, and and I have a business in Tacoma. And one day I was doing this Silver Ultra Mind, and I was asking the questions in my meditative state, what else I can do and where can I go from here. And then I saw Claire like in next few days, and Claire told me she's running the course, and that's when I decided to enroll for the course. So
Yes.
now I just want to like grow within this healing business, and I'm just curious like how far I can go within this healing. And ideally I just want to like probably heal people like without even like they telling me they need the healing. I just want to heal them. I want to get to that state.
Yeah, yeah. Well, if anybody wants Manny to practice on you, his massages are incredible. They're up in Mount Dandenong in Tacoma.
Thank you.
And has anyone else heard of the silver method? Do you know what Manny's talking about with the silver method? No. Okay, so Manny, do you want to say what the silver method is?
Yeah, so there was a guy called Jose Silva. He invented the method, and I'm not sure if you've seen that ad from Silva Ultramind and the Mind Valley. It just keeps popping on my Facebook all the time. Like, so I started to do that Silva method. So basically, it's like an active kind of meditation. I realized there are two kinds of meditation: passive meditation and active. So Silva Ultramind is like an active kind of meditation, and
Yeah.
it really worked for me. And I've got some stories to tell, which I will tell you later. But yeah, I've been enjoying that course. Yeah.
Yeah, so the silver method's actually quite similar to same but different with NLP. So the silver method is understanding the power of the mind and then playing with how your mind stores reality to then make those shifts and adjustments so that reality works for you instead of the other way around, in a nutshell. So it's Mind Valley just grabbed hold of it maybe 12 months ago, but it's been around since maybe the 70s, similar age to NLP. So if you're curious, check it out on good old YouTube. Thank you, Manny.
Thank you.
Ray?
Hi,
Hey, Ray.
how are you? I'm Ray. Um, Mine's not as exciting as all you guys, but I was a stay-at-home mum. I was never really career oriented. I always sort of lived my life really around others to make their life easier, and always had that spiritual side to me, and always the same as you guys, like very curious on why people behave a certain way. That was always like a big part. So I'm doing in the midst of doing my Reiki 2 certificate, and I also am with Sarah in a mediumship psychic group. And we've got a business, which I'm not really there so much. We're in a news agency and a few other businesses, but it's just not my vibe. I'm also a new grandma, and I can hear him crying upstairs. So again, my world is, my kids and my grandson. But I also wanted to do an NLP because my youngest daughter's, she's got a lot going on with anxiety and the way she thinks, and I thought something like this, maybe I can help. I just want to understand why and how, what makes her think the way, and I want to just retrain her brain, to be honest.
Just reparent her all over again.
Just to give her peace, and so yeah, that's what kind of really has pushed me towards all this way, so yeah.
I think that everybody in this group shares that common value, Ray, with wanting to better understand what drives people, observing that there's some people in our world that's suffering, and our intuition says, really, do you have to suffer?
Yeah. So I'm really, really looking forward to this. I really am.
Okay. Yeah, well, again, we'll get Ray working if anyone want a reading after NLP.
I'm not there yet. I'm getting there, but I'm not Sarah and I'm not Claire, but I'm getting there slowly.
The interesting thing, Ray, is your grandson is the same age as Manny's new daughter, so you guys already have something in common. So
Yeah,
Woo,
beautiful.
babies.
Beautiful. I can hear him crying. He's being cheeky.
Oh, we can't hear him crying, which
No.
is that's fine. Thank you for that, Ray.
Thank you.
Elise.
Hello. Nice to meet everyone. So nice to be part of this. So I'm currently working as a community manager for a group that brings women over 50 together to find friendship, which is beautiful and really fulfilling work. But also I teach yoga as well on the side, and that really is a space which I just am totally in love with and curious about. And so I think what I'd love for this course to do for me is to step out and to create something of my own. And I'd love to be doing coaching for people and just helping them navigate life, because it's a doozy sometimes. So yeah, curious about it all, really.
And so Elise, is there a possibility or a plan to do like yoga online, or is it mostly coaching online?
I think the coaching online, I'm not sure yet, but the yoga in person element is what I enjoy the most, and then I see the coaching online wherever I am, and something like this give me the flexibility to travel and be wherever I want to be. So yeah, sort of excited about where it could take me.
Yeah, me too. Okay, we'll get Elise working towards the end. We'll do a yoga stretch. No, I'm teasing. Watching everyone's face when I say just the spot. Cool. Thank you, Elise.
Thanks.
Hayley. Good to see you, Hayley.
Hi, everyone. Really excited to be here. I have recently just got my first certificate in kinesiology, and I've got ongoing study that I'm continuing on with, and I'm a Reiki 2 practitioner, and a crystal healer as well. So basically where I'm at the moment, I'm about to open my own clinic. I've just taken on a lease, so I'm really excited and nervous about that. Yeah, that's where I'm at. And I have 4 kids. So I suppose I have been, a stay-at-home mum for quite a while now. And yeah, so I'm ready for this next phase. Yeah.
Wow. Whereabouts is the new clinic, Hayley?
It's in Maryborough, which is a regional town in central Victoria. Yeah.
Yay! And so is it like, where are you up to with that? Like painting the walls, or not allowed to do that?
Pretty
or
much. Yeah. So just fitting it out at the minute. Yeah. So it should be,
so
I
then-
think I'll be ready sort of start of August. Yeah.
Okay. So we'll all do a trip up to no. And then so with the kinesiology side of things, is that where you're looking for case studies then to complete that?
No, so basically the way my course works is I'm certified to practice now. But we just have like our course is about, it can be 5 years. Like it's but we do, I've got like the international certificate in kinesiology now, but I just, I'm going on with, you're just always adding to your toolkit. So
No, that's exciting exciting to hear. Like 5 years, like it'll be fun to watch this all bloom and come together. So yay.
Yeah, and then I'm just like, I think NLP just fits so beautifully with kinesiology that's why I'm here, and for my own benefit as well.
Yeah. And then 4 kids. So I've got 4 daughters, so I could relate.
Yeah, it's
crazy.
busy. Yeah.
Thank you, Hayley.
Thank you.
Shelley.
Did you say my name? It's just checking. Hi everyone, I'm Shell. I am currently a practice manager for two spinal energetics clinics. So I work closely with the founder. It's a fast-growing business. And I'm also a practitioner in one of those clinics as well in spinal energetics. So everything is growing really fast. So the word overwhelm for me is coming up a lot. I also attract a lot of clients that are experiencing overwhelm and they are looking to go big and expand in business. However, finding it a challenge and a hurdle that when they do get success and achievements to like maintain it and hold it, which is also something that I experience myself as well. So I'm really curious to see how NLP can switch the mindset and give me the tools to take home myself with that, and then also filter that down into the clients as well. I really love somatic practices, but I think NLP just really fits in beautifully in the sense of empowering the client outside of sessions. So they've got someone to work with in between sessions to help with their processing and integration rather than having to be dependent and having to wait for the next session before they can actually propel forward and grow.
Yeah, wow. Yeah. Have you got plans then to have your own clinic one day?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's just really hard to see that right now.
Yeah, so it'll come when you're ready.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you, Shelley. Lily. Da-da-da-da. Haley, you know, we've got 4 kids. Listen to this. Lily, how many children?
I've got 6. Yes. Hi, I'm Lily. I have 6 little kids. Had them all under in 8 years, so they're all very close, and it's just a bit of a crazy house. So at the moment, I am just really building my toolbox. So I'm really interested in the spiritual side of things. I really sort of want to work with kids and just build. Because if I had have known about manifesting my energy, NLP, if I had known about that when I was younger, I feel like half my problems wouldn't have come, and they're harder to work out when you're older. So I just really want to teach and empower children, young teenagers, to be able to have those tools so that they can get through those areas of their life a bit better. So I'm really just building my toolkit at the moment until my kids get a bit older. Is there anything else?
No, that's it. Is there anything you want to add about what you're naturally curious about?
Oh, anything energy, anything spiritual, anything like all the kooky, cool stuff. I'm just, that's all I'm doing. I love all that stuff. So anything a bit wacky, weird.
Yeah, because your kids keep you on your toes with the spiritual side of things, right?
Yeah, and actually, maybe someone here could help me. I think my son has an entity in his room, because he vomits every time he goes to bed, and
Okay, yeah, that.
tired. So if anyone has any tips or tricks to help me out, let me know.
Yeah. That's what I do every other day. It's clearing entities, but it's not something size. But
Okay, yeah. So, but no, I love all that stuff. So yeah, I'm just all into it.
we'll quickly check which son who's is it Louis?
The little baby Will.
Oh well, okay, all right.
But I love your hair too.
Oh, thank you, Louis.
I was like, it looks good. You're looking good. I love it. You look good.
Lily and I've known each other for 1.5 years now, so yeah, hearing all the kids out is always exciting. So
you look good.
Yeah, all right. When my daughter Lily is 20, my studio is separate from my home, and she drove in the driveway and said, "Oh, Mum, I thought I saw you up in the studio. You're here in the kitchen." That's when she got home at 5 o'clock, and I'm like, "Great, there already another guide aspect already up there working. You want me to come up and be alone in my studio? Great." Anyway, same for you. Same for Will. Oh gosh, we'll work through his stuff.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lily. Lucy.
Hi everyone, so nice to meet you all. What do I do? I'm similar to a few of you. I'm half in corporate land, half in not. So I've been a strategist in the advertising and creative agency world for too many years, and hopefully in 2 weeks' time or so, that will not be the case. So for the last 2 years, I've been coaching, and also I'm a Reiki practitioner as well. So that's my long-term goal. I've officially just created a business, signed up the name, applied for the ABN. So it's all happening. I've been doing it a little bit sneakily on the side and at work. So yeah, big changes, which I'm really excited about. How do I intend to use it? For me, the thing that my coach taught me that I really valued is level up yourself, and then you'll attract, those clients, and you'll be able to better handle what gets thrown at you. So first and foremost, to uncover more about what's holding me back and propel me, but yeah, then ultimately helping others. Naturally curious about motherhood, which is, I don't have kids yet, but I'm think about being a mum probably every second of my day. So it's super nice to see how many people have kids.
Oh, Lucy, watch Sarah and Ray's eyes when they link in to how many kids you got behind you. Ah,
God.
yeah, there's 3 there right now, but anyway. Oh, is that right? Is that right, Ray? She's not going to take any. Any other psychics in the room want to make a prediction for poor Lucy as we put her on the spot? Oh,
2
fun.
boys and a girl. There you go. 2 boys and a girl. That's what I say.
Fun. Anything else there, Lucy?
No, that was it from me. Thank you. And thanks for that. I'm excited about my future. So thank you. Appreciate being here.
Thank you. Courtney.
Hello. I was too busy listening to everyone else. I kind of forgot what I was sharing. My job. Oh yeah, so it's really exciting to see so many kinesiologists in this group, because I'm also a kinesiology practitioner and also an instructor in the EMK modality. So yeah, it's really nice to see other EMK kinesiologists here. For me, I think definitely both business-wise, just adding, I'm always about adding more depth and anything that I can add to my clinic and my toolkit to help my clients, but also I find that anything that I do to try and help my clients is always amazing for me as well. So definitely personal, here for personal as well. And curious, honestly, I'm curious about everything. Everything, energy, frequency, emotions, metaphysical. Yeah, I want to do it all.
All in for the fun conversations.
Yeah.
Your hair gotten darker, or have I just been off Instagram for too long?
No, it's just wet.
Okay. Cool. And yeah, no, I think we covered everything there. With is there any upcoming dates, Courtney, about your next NLP, your next kinesiology dates?
Oh my God, I'm in like a whole week of teaching this week. So I taught on the weekend, and I taught today, and I teach tomorrow, and then I teach on the weekend. So yeah.
And then there'll be some space for a rest, right? Or you'll come to a coach for burnout.
Probably. No, I'm going to rest next week on Monday.
That's good. Sounds like a plan. Thank you, Courtney. Lilo.
Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you all. My name is Lilo. I am a makeup artist, and I own a hair and makeup salon. Courtney actually introduced me to NLP. I've been seeing her for kinesiology, as I'm all up in the self-development, healing, spirituality stage of my life. A while ago, I stumbled upon Joe Dispenza, and he's been someone I look up to, and he kind of got my mind racing and very intrigued with that healing space and rewiring the mind. So NLP was definitely on that path for me. For personal and for business, I think it goes hand in hand. I'm in the makeup space. I have clients. So I'm basically a therapist to my clients, as I'd like to think. Yeah, and I think if I can help myself, I can help others. It all starts with me. So what was the last one? Curious. Similar to Courtney and everyone else, I think I'm very curious about spirituality and healing and energy. I've done yeah, I've done a little bit of the woohoo stuff myself, so I'm very intrigued. I've seen what's on the other side. Yeah. And I do take myself a bit too seriously, so I'd like to enjoy life, and yeah, I hope NLP can show me how to have fun and not be too serious.
Yeah, that's a big component to NLP, especially my style of NLP, is not to take the problems too seriously. We'll go into that topic, but like it's the worst thing if a client's in the hole and the coach gets in the hole with them, like, oh, we've taken it too seriously. The coach needs to stand up on the, and help the person out. Like, is that what you're sort of talking about? Not taking it too seriously?
Yes.
Yeah.
A bit too empathetic, I guess, yeah, with the other, yeah.
Yeah. And then I'm curious, Lilo, as a therapist, tell us all, would you prefer we were all quiet? Is that what the preference would be, or do you like a good chat when they're in the chair?
I yap too much. I get carried away. My issue is, concentrating on, it's like, painting. So it's that flow state. However, I can also go into flow state if I'm having that really good conversation with someone that just aligns, and I am picking their brain, and I'm curious about their past, and I'm curious about their traumas, and I just bring myself back to, I'm a makeup artist. I need to focus on what I'm doing. So I'd love to bring that into the space and see if I can, intertwine them.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you for that. I'm curious, does everybody know what Lilo's talking about with Joe Dispenza? Everyone's familiar with? Another one to check out on YouTube. Anyone not familiar? Like, I see Elise shaking. Joe Dispenza is worthwhile checking out. He is a hypnotherapist. He is trained in NLP. I mean, most thought leaders are. And Joe Dispenza has a strong focus on exactly what we're doing here in the NLP space, is how our thoughts, our program influence how the manifestation of illness and the manifestation of poverty and other things show up in your world. So that's absolutely one of my focuses when it comes to working with clients is, and of course, I'm not going to advertise that in any way, shape or form. My insurance would come down on me like a ton of bricks, but working on somebody who presents with a tumor. I had a woman who presented with like a tumor on her ovaries. And when we used NLP to go in and talk to the tumor, talk to the anger, talk to the childhood wounding and side of things. That cancerous tumor went away very, very quickly. And that's not just one case, that's a lot of my cases with clients, that the Joe Dispenza work works is like when you get in touch with what the body's saying to you, to be able to clear that limitation and raise your frequency so you come back into that aligned health. Like, it's so phenomenal, like the whole autoimmune stuff. And is that like similar to what got your attention with Joe there, Lilo?
Sorry, yes, most definitely. Definitely the childhood trauma, and digging into why I was doing the things I did. It was like battling with myself. A new version of myself, an old version of myself, and being like, wait, that doesn't add value to my life. And definitely.
We're on the same path. And I think unfortunately those processes start to come up at about week 4 or 5, or like if I could just go into them first week, I would, because I love all of that. But we build up to that point. So it's coming, the fun stuff. And then we've got Miss Karen.
Hi. Hi, I'm Karen. Where do I start? So I have been a coach in the corporate space for about 10 years. Recently stepped away from it. And I want to say I was gifted to caring for my mum until recently, so I'll try not get too upset. But yeah, look, I think for me, the next 6 months, I'm glad this goes slowly. So my plan is to relaunch myself next year. I have completed a Reiki 2 practitioner course, which I loved, and I had amazing experiences in. it's the spiritual and healing world, something I've always explored and got a lot out of myself, but I guess I've finally decided to step into it and see if it's what I can do too and offer people something else. And so for me as a coach, my coaching has always been grounded in positive psychology and different coaching frameworks. And so for me now, it's just retraining and looking at how I can rebrand myself moving forward.
Yay. Do you want to
Yeah.
share what you're naturally curious about, or that was the all things spiritual, holistic?
Pretty much it is. I'm curious to see where this takes me. I'm actually also going to be starting another course while I'm doing this, but it's not until September, so I've got a little bit of time. But it's a Masters of Ashanti Healing, and it's also just learning to trust your intuition. So I've actually taken that course more for my personal self at the moment because I feel I need a lot of that. But this, I'm actually quite excited. I've always had NLP around me. I've read a lot about it. It was a lot in my original degree around coaching and even intertwined in positive psychology. So I'm curious to see shift I've done in the past and look at bringing this into as a tool, another tool.
Yeah. And then the Ashanti, did I pronounce that correctly? Because I have not heard of that one.
Yeah, Ashanti Healing. So I hadn't either until probably 4 months ago. I went and had my first experience with it, and it blew me away. It actually just, I had a lot of, again, sort of experiences in it. I had a lot of visions. I had a lot of people shouting in my head. I'm trying to open myself up to that sort of space. So I'm doing it more to explore if it's something, if I can get more in touch and trust myself in that space. So
yay.
Yeah.
Yay. Okay. Yeah, that was part of your goals, wasn't it, Karen, with the intuition?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people had that on there. So yeah, it'll be fun to see that bloom. Thank you. Wow, yay. All right. So we can see that we've definitely got the right kind of people in this. You say, oh, who's the wrong kind of people? Those wrong people, I said, this training's not for you. That's honestly what happened to those other people. So yeah, we've got a fun adventure talking all things holistic, spiritual, intuition, high vibe. I've got to tell you, as I said before, like 4 or 5 o'clock, getting ready, writing out people's goals and things. Which happens to me when I do trainings, I had this parade of guides coming in like they were ready for the training to begin. And there was a common theme with everybody's guides that they all came in with such strength, even the heat of the elements, the fire. There was such eagerness for the guides to start to come forward. I'm not sure if you're all familiar with your guides, but it was just like, wow, we are really well and truly supported with the team. In the previous group, just before this one, in a nutshell, I'm going way off track, but somebody will bring me back on the right path. But their guides had a lot of, let's just say their guides were working with a lot more of the, I don't want to do a comparison. I'm fine. Let's just say one lot of guides were like fire and the other guides were like ice. This group is completely different to the previous one. So I'm, again, really curious to see what comes up because there was a lot of energy that came up about transformation, time travelers. Anyway, I'm going way off track, but we can explore all things and feel free to ask me questions about that as you get to know the weird and wonderful side of Claire. What I'm going to do, I'm looking at the time. I want to just go over a little bit more of the history of NLP by 8 o'clock-ish or 10 to 8. We'll have a break, a 10-ish minute break, 15-minute break, and come back and then we'll complete with a bit of a processy component of NLP, so that you leave tonight with something to think about until we meet again next Tuesday night. So going back to the slides. The question says, how did we go with pre-training? My intuition says we don't need to talk about that unless anybody wants to share any burning desires to talk about Rick's voice. Oops. All right, let's play.
I really enjoyed him. I thought he was awesome.
Yeah, you loved his radio DJ voice?
Yep, I did. He was great.
And Sarah, he recorded that when his little ones were like, I mean, Zoe and Sienna now are university age, but he recorded that when his girls were like toddlers or primary school age and asleep in bed. So his voice is quite really trance-like, because he's trying not to wake the girls.
Oh, it was really good, and I really enjoyed how he came across. He's very easy to listen to, and I really liked his story in the end, like how it all came together and how he, obviously what he done and how he got himself out. Yeah, very good, very inspirational. I thoroughly enjoyed him.
Yeah. Is there any story that stood out, or is it all just all in your head now?
Just all in my head, and it's surprising. You think, because you're just listening to him doing everything, you know, I was listening to him at work, in the car, in the house, everywhere. And it's surprising, just little words here and there, such a trigger. And but his story in himself, I was just so touched by.
Yeah. And then you got up to like him doing the Elvis voice and things.
Yep. So yeah, I did. So it was very good too. It was a really good pre-training to listen to.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. Rick's wife and I, friends, coach each other however friends do friendly coaching, and so I'm often talk to Beck about once a week, and so hear Rick in the voice in the background. He's such a treasure.
Yep, very good. Yeah, so thanks for that.
Anybody else want to comment on Rick? I know that there were some people, which is totally understandable, who felt completely dozed in a trance listening to Rick. That's exactly what his job is as a master hypnotherapist.
That would have been me. I found that the information stuck a lot better when I was actually moving and active. Yeah, rather than sitting down. Yeah. Like, do you have is there like a recommended amount of times that you listen to it?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I still go back to listen to it and go, oh yeah. What I've found is, as your level of consciousness starts to expand and go up, you hear things from a different filter of your mind, a different point of view. So what I'm hearing now is sort of like, did I jump time streams? I do not remember that being in the content 10 years ago, but it hasn't changed. So if your intuition is drawing you to listen to it, then definitely go play. It's there for you to enjoy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did anybody listen to it twice?
Yes.
Like, perfectionist.
Well, no, it was more so because sometimes it would really, I was like, I just want to go to sleep. Even if I was out walking, I just found it so soothing. Not as in it was boring, but just the voice was so soothing. And I was like, I need to go to sleep and listen to it. And then there'd be some I'd listen to, and I listened to the whole thing and I was like on it. And there was other ones, like literally, I think one of them I listened to 4 times. And before that, every time I listen to it, I'm like, I don't remember this from last time. I don't remember this from last time. 4 times.
And somewhere in there, he prompted you to redo your goals.
Yes, exactly.
Anyone else?
I found it quite hard because I'm quite visual, so I was like, listening, but like I'd fall in and out because I'm not focusing on something. So yeah, I think I got up to about 8 hours in or so. So I still got a little bit to do, but yeah, some things stuck and some things kind of flitted away.
Yeah. Do you have the intention to go back to it or not?
Absolutely. I thought it was more like I would pick it up as I'm learning as well. Things would become more relevant, and it was like just more unconscious learning at this point.
Yeah. yeah, planting the seed until to getting there. The what I say, like with the Elvis voice, I'll lace you up to the Elvis voice. You know what I'm talking about yet?
There was definitely a couple of voices, like the movie star kind of, yeah, radio presenter, like I can't remember, I'm not gonna do it, but yeah.
We get up to the strategy scrambler, and it's deliberately designed for you to make you as the coach to make a fool of yourself. And when I first learned it, I was so like, that's not happening. And then eventually it was like, no, if Rick could do it, I could do it too. So yeah, it is worth keeping an ear, like if you're getting drawn to it, to go back to it. But yeah, cool. Okay. So we've still got to answer Nicole's question. I think it was Nicole's question. My page, I've just dropped my page about John and Richard. We're getting there. Okay, so some of the goals, everybody's theme within the goals. I skipped a whole slide there. Training goals. So a lot of the common theme with the goals were to help others, to trust myself, to feel more confident, enhance my intuition, be comfortable to receive financial abundance, continue my personal growth, work through limiting beliefs, understand and have the right tools to achieve results. So I did a bit of a summary on people's goals so we can all see that we're pretty much sharing the same, we're on the same path, on the same page. Somebody wrote a goal in, I think I came in, I was looking at it on my Saturday or Sunday, enhance my goal setting techniques with my clients, improve my questioning techniques, and to be able to read between the lines on what client says on a surface level to increase the effectiveness of my clients. Whoever wrote this wrote it more eloquently than me trying to just get straight to the point. But NLP definitely helps you read between the lines. It definitely helps you identify, especially watching eye patterns, watching sensory acuity, and watching people's body language. This one is going to be fun to play with. This goal. This is yeah. I was excited when I saw that one. Again, somebody else here had a goal. The language I use in my mind is always optimistic. I am able to clearly hear my intuition and make decisions with ease. I trust the way every day unfolds and know it is bringing me the direction of my dream life. Again, I'm not highlighting who wrote these, but this person is telling me that they've already done some level of coaching or understand how to write goals in the way that it is stated as if it's already here. So gold star to this person, like this was exciting to see this one come up. And then this one, this particular goal, anyone who's still wanting to add to their goals, like there's some really good points of interest in this one. I'd like to feel more confident in my own personality and self-expression and to know and own what is my purpose. I would like to be taking action on my dream career and build a community of like-minded people. I'd like to be able to bring in money with ease so that I can travel and explore the world, live my ideal lifestyle, live generously, supporting causes that are important to me. Again, there was a lot of yumminess in this particular goal. Just looking at my notes, was there anything I wanted to say? I think it might be the next one. Is there anybody that wanted to share their goal or talk about their goals before I go on? So my question to you as a coach, just I'm going to skip a whole bunch of sessions and assume that we're already at that point. I want to talk to you all about confidence because that was a big theme in most people's goals was to, I want to have confidence. Can a few people throw out some ideas on what they believe confidence to actually be?
I would listen to a podcast on this today.
What?
I'll just tell you what they said, which I thought was quite nice. They described it as faith.
Oh, okay.
Which I quite liked. I often don't like the word confidence because it's like, for me, confidence means you can be seen confident, but internally you're not. So I personally like to redefine it as self-belief. But yeah, I thought the podcast frame of faith, so faith in yourself, faith in the universe, faith in the world, faith in others, that is to be confident. So yeah, I quite liked that.
Does that fit in with your goals, Lucy, when it comes to understanding your beliefs and to have that level of faith?
I feel like I do already have faith.
Yeah.
In maybe more so the world than myself, which is kind of interesting. So yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, especially being in the marketing world. Yeah, yeah, that would make sense. Thank you. Does anyone else want to throw out their ideas about confidence?
Trust.
Yeah.
That's it. Just trust, I think. And I don't trust enough. So I think that's, yeah, trust.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with both of those, the trust and the faith side of things. When it comes to coaching, when it comes to people filling out their goals, even though there's everybody here in this space is psychic, whether they've activated or not is a different thing. But when you start to get really familiar with the way that people articulate themselves and their goals, you will very, very quickly identify what are their limitations, what are their fears, what's their point of view, even from a few lines of the goals. So when people, and of course, everybody's going to have a different version of confidence, but when you narrow down what confidence means, the actual like breaking down the word, it is with trust. And so that's actually what confidence means, is that there's a level of trust and faith within somebody's self to give something a go, and the trust that they can pick themselves back up if it ends up being a bit of a flop. So the confidence isn't saying that I'm going to do this with certainty, because otherwise the goal would be, or the fact is I'm going to be certain doing this. Doing this with confidence is a different level that invites in a level of vulnerability, I'd say. So I notice when people fill out their goals for one-on-one coaching, it's like, Claire, I want to be confident. First, I want to check in, what is confidence to them? But then it's actually like, let's have a look at where is the lack of trust in themselves? Where is the problem with taking a risk? Because the truth is, when it comes to trust, there is a level of future prediction. There's a level of trust that what happens is I'll be able to deal with the consequences of that. Does that kind of fit in with people's idea about confidence, or anyone want to say, no, you're way off track there, Claire?
I just want to add, Claire,
Yeah.
I think it's also, I guess, trusting the power within. So what the effect that you can have on someone else's life. So being, and sometimes that's scary because they're coming to you looking for answers, or they're coming to you to change something. So it's often trusting, or I guess having the confidence to be able to hold that platform or hold that space, knowing that you're holding the power at the moment for that change.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you spoke up about that. It was that, yeah, holding the space, because it's it's such a level of honor and integrity to be able to hold that space for somebody. And isn't it always? I always felt it heartwarming. And Karen, Karen and I both share that both of our mothers have passed in the last 6-ish months. My mum died on Christmas Eve. Santa's coming. No, mum, yeah, anyway, it's a whole nother sense of humor coming in there. But to hold the space for somebody when when they don't believe in themselves, to have that confidence, to have that strength, comes with such an honor. Yeah, a sense of respect in that, and integrity, big value of mine. Thank you. So when it comes to your goals, we will be referring back to them as a way of noticing how much you're progressing throughout this training, and to be able to achieve them. Because sometimes when you don't have the intention, the training can be a little bit of a like, what am I here for? When you've set that intention, it's magnificent how you attract in scenarios to be able to create that. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. Anybody else wanted to share on that confidence side of things? No, I'm mindful of the time. We will get to that question about John and Richard. Here they are. If you have your manual, it's on page 17, but I wouldn't expect you to open it. It's all good. The slides cover everything. So NLP was created in the 1970s by the computer programmer Richard Bandler. and the Professor of Linguistics, John Grinder. So Richard was actually a student of John's. Initially, when they came together, they studied the experts in the therapy field and worked out how they consistently got results working with others. So NLP essentially is created based on NLP was created from the study of excellence. That's exactly what it is. So NLP definitely looks at how people create limitations within themselves, the pictures that they make, the things that they say to themselves, and the unconscious programming. So NLP can definitely shift those barriers so the client can change their perception about themselves and the world around them to be able to move on, feel confident, have faith, have trust, and feel empowered. NLP has a broad contribution in the early days, but in NLP Practitioner, we focus on the 5 main stars other than Richard and John. So Virginia Satir, family therapist, Robert Dilts on logical levels, Gregory Bateson on framing, Fritz Perls on gestalt therapy, and Milton Erickson hypnosis. At the end of this training, we'll go a lot more into the hypnosis side of things. And while there's a variety of different hypnotherapy modalities, we're studying specifically on the Erickson side of things. So Richard and John looked at those therapists that were excelling in the therapeutic industry, and they looked at why are they so effective? How do they get consistent results? What is the common pattern? How are they breaking down the language to get those results? And most importantly, they looked at what are those experts not doing to get the results. So quite fascinating in the way they approached it. If you go on YouTube, you'll be able to see young Richard working with a variety of different people. This picture here focuses on Andy. Richard's working with Andy, who was a schizophrenic, a lot of different voices going on in his head. And instead of Richard approaching him to try to get Andy to be in normal reality, Richard actually blended in with Andy's world and had a discussion about, well, how do you want to talk to these voices? What can we do to minimize them? And really, it was so beautiful to watch if you go find it on YouTube, but it was just a beautiful way of meeting a fellow human where they're at instead of having to fix him, so to speak. I thought I had the next picture of Richard. So what is NLP? When we look at the N side of things, the neuro, this is actually your nervous system, so the mind, and we're looking at the way that your 5 senses interpret this reality. So you know that good old saying, does a tree make a sound when it falls and nobody's there, or in a forest, nobody's there to hear it? The truth is, unless you actually have the equipment to record sound, to hear the sound, then no, it doesn't make a sound. It's our 5 senses that puts a meaning to the experience that we're having in this reality. The next piece here is the linguistics, so the language and the non-verbal communication that our system uses, so the neural representations that are coded, so the pictures that we make, the sounds that we make, the feelings, the taste, the smells, and in NLP we also include that self-talk. Any questions on this so far, or making sense so far? The next one here is the programming. So when we've experienced our reality, and what's coming to mind in this example, if it's okay to share, Manny, and tell me if it's not, but Manny's wife went to, is it Bali, Manny? Geckos?
Yes.
And so in her experience of this, she saw the gecko on the outside, created a picture in her mind of like the problem that geckos can create, or the feelings that geckos create in her, that fear. And now she's got a program that geckos equal problem, right? In a nutshell.
Yep.
And so knowing that we can narrow down those points of interest means that we can help Manny's wife or any client be able to reprogram it. Have a look at the picture that she's making. Is it a huge picture? what's the sounds, what's the self-talk, to this fear that she's got of these tiny little lizards, painful when they bite, and being able to shift her experience so that when she does go to Bali again, it's not as she's not approaching it with that fear as her the way that she's projecting it. Oh, these slides have been moved. My apologies here. This should have been earlier. So when I finished my NLP trainers training, I went out and celebrated by going and buying my dream dog, Blenheim Cavalier, and we decided to name him Richard Bandler Chancellor. So I have that joke in my house that I actually live with Richard Bandler. Both are naughty, both are rebellious, both don't take life too seriously. But yeah, that's my wicked sense of humor. And so yeah, Richie, he's a character. For some reason, these couple of slides here are out of order, but if you want to check out Richard Bandler, his history, his story, last year they released his bio and it's made by one of his best friends. It's absolutely amazing. So this is actually where you'll find the answer about what happened with John and Richard. From my understanding, my research, basically Richard's values didn't match up with John's in any way, shape, or form. So where John may have been quite conservative, Richard's was not. So there was definitely, some heavy-duty miscommunication that went on. Once they parted ways, what John Grinder did was he went off and helped create EMDR. Is anyone else familiar with EMDR? Yeah, so EMDR is where the academic world does eye patterns to heal things like PTSD and things like that. So it's not very well known, but John Grinder decided he'd go and create or help co-create EMDR, which is only taught to the academics. So there was a level of rules within the medical industry. There's a whole lot of rules around that. And he also went and created a different version of NLP. So NLP is in a lot of different modalities that most people don't actually recognize that he played a big role in. A lot of people focus on Richard's being part of NLP because he's so outspoken about it. So yeah, I'm mindful of time. We'll just keep pushing through this little bit and then we'll have a break. There he is now compared to that other picture I showed before with him looking skinny. As I said earlier, NLP was created in the 1970s, but to reframe what it is today, NLP was created when computers were fancy. They were brand new technology, and so programming was the fancy word to use. In this day and age, NLP would be NLA because of the apps. We delete the old apps and then we install the faster, more effective apps, and that's exactly what NLP will do with a client. Shift those old, outdated programs and bring in the new apps that make their mind work a lot faster and attract in what they want. The question is, why would we change a belief? Your ultimate joy, your purpose absolutely matters. If you have those unhealed memories of the past, and we've all briefly spoken about that, you will attract in situations, scenarios that give you opportunities to heal that old wound of the past. So doing that inner work will bring you closer to that sense of alignment, definitely. If you have a deep need for people to like you, perhaps you were bullied in the playground and that sense of isolation is still active in you, you will choose to be around people based on the wounds of the past, and it's going to be completely unconscious. But because that programming is so familiar, you will give up of yourself. You will people please. You will overgive. You will drain your energy to absolutely get that need met. So somebody with anxiety, somebody who's struggling, it can be as simple as being dropped off to school on the very first day. And while the child themselves are confident to go to school, they look to mum who's teary, and immediately a program can get created to say, oh my God, What does mum know about this world that I don't know? Why can't I trust myself in this world? And it's that nanosecond, it's not for everybody, obviously, but that nanosecond, that program gets created. And so that person is now operating through this world with that fear of like moving through this world, what's going on. I've had a client like that where that was exactly the root cause of a lot of her problems. She did not feel safe in this world. We resolved that, and she's now on luxury yachts and all sorts of things. Like, she moved that so fast, going from debt to, yeah, anyway, going off track. So with NLP, we're going to look at the limiting beliefs that keep you in that loop of, gosh, is this even possible? Is it for me? Can I even make a living from what I want to do? We can heal that wound and bring in those learnings so that we're putting you on that new path. We're now attracting in the clients that you want to work with, the situations and scenarios that reinforce that confidence, that connection, that intuition. Instead of doing burnout, we're now feeling energized because you're attracting in a whole different frequency of people. And then from there, a really good quality coach will also bring in the strategies for success. As a quick example, if you go and help somebody clear their belief or their fear of spiders, they have had a whole lifetime of running away from the spider. Now they're not fearful of them. So the coach actually has to come in and say, well, this is how you get a spider out of your house. That's a metaphor for everybody's fears. Speaking on stage, speaking on social media. Yes, you can clear the limiting belief, but you've also got to have a coach that can help you implement the strategies for the next step. And so that question is, why would we want to shift a belief? Because once you shift somebody's limiting beliefs, like that people-pleasing one, then their words are now different, their actions are now different. They're now operating with different habits, which means they now have different values. They're holding their head high, they have that confidence, and therefore there's that ripple effect, full body tingles, of that awesome destiny. And that's why we go in, we can shift the limiting beliefs and have this massive ripple effect throughout all of their life. You go and clear a limiting belief with attracting in clients, you'll also see them head held high in their family, head held high with their finances, head held high. The ripple effect's amazing and it's wonderful. Any questions on any of that? So who benefits from NLP? Absolutely anybody. So that's why we've got some NLP trainers who focus on marketing, the rah-rah, they're wearing the suits, and then you have other NLP trainers who get the best out of NLP in the holistic mindset. So NLP can definitely be taught to anybody who's in the real estate market, Oprah, Tony Robbins, judges. My husband was an NLP trainer and he now works for a bunch of solicitors and they're zapping each other with NLP all the time. Compared to then me going in and working with entities, the spirit world, limiting beliefs, all sorts of fun stuff. So NLP can be definitely taught to anyone because we're talking about the mind and how we communicate to get those results. So again, NLP was created based on excellence, looking at what the best do. And we're going to go into more detail about that in a few more weeks. But if you look to somebody in the industry who's doing what you want to do and being able to use your NLP skills to find out what are their thoughts, what is their strategy, NLP will give you the tools to be able to duplicate their strategy, save you a whole bunch of time, save you a whole bunch of stress. And essentially that's why coaching is phenomenal in what it does. And that's why if you can find somebody who's already doing what you want to do, like pay them, skip the 15 years of hell trying to work it out. Nearly finished for the break. There is a common pattern between NLP students who created that financial and time freedom using NLP and those who were quite casual about it. The successful students didn't just come to learn NLP, they actually approached it from a really deep connection for themselves. They listened to the content, they took notice of how their body and mind responded to the information. They had a focus on exploring what's possible, and they did practice from day one. My invitation to you is to go through the NLP content and really question your thoughts, your reactions, your responses to everything that's here in the NLP content. Question what you believe, question what you don't believe. What do you connect to? When do you disconnect from the training? Why? And just start to really notice what's going on at that mind-body level, to really notice which parts resonate and get your attention when it comes to NLP. What is the time? Oh, we've got about a couple more slides here. I'll skip through a lot of this. What is coaching? I think Karen's already expressed a fair bit of this. Coaching is to be able to assist someone to unlock their personal potential. Coaching is very different to counseling and therapy. NLP is very much solution orientated. It's not so much interested in why you have the problem. It's more interested in how to transform to be your potential. It's not that toxic positivity where we skip over it, but there's a big, strong focus in what do you want. I'll briefly go over this. There's a difference between coaching and therapy, where typically coaching is short-term. Therapy is typically long-term. Coaching puts a lot of the responsibility on the client to be able to pursue their passions, to move towards their goals. Whereas therapy, the cliche therapy, tends to be more about the pursuit of relief of pain, how to manage your emotions. NLP can cut through a lot of the time. There's definitely a place for therapy, but coaching has a place there where you really accelerate your results. Lastly here, coaching will work 100% of the time for people who are 100% ready and willing and able to move through their limitations. While it may be uncomfortable, the change is absolutely worth it. Sometimes I have, sitting with people, they ask me, I recently had this, someone's like, my son's got depression, level of depression is giving me anxiety. Claire, what can you do to fix, solve, help my son? And I was like, well, time out actually. If it's affecting you, the person I was talking to, then we need to look at what is the triggers, why is there need to a rescue, what's the anxiety going on for you, so that we can resolve that trigger in you and present in that relationship with a lot more strength, confidence, trust, to be able to guide, help, or not their son. So my focus with the side of coaching is, if it's impacting you, then go and get the coaching to resolve those triggers, not just point to say, yeah, somebody else has the problem. That particular person had said, oh, I've done so much healing, it's never ending. And I was like, you need to check in with yourself. Did the coaching work? Did you get relief when you worked on it for your business? When you worked on it, well, the coach hadn't been me. I was stepping in as a new potential coach. And it was like, if you've been getting the results from coaching in the past, then surely you would move into coaching again, because you know that you get the results when you really dedicate yourself. So that's my message here, is that coaching 100% works when somebody's willing to do what they haven't done to get results that their intuition is pulling them towards. So I have a really big, strong focus on people following their intuition. A lot of the time, when your intuition knows your blueprint, knows your purpose, or to be here in this reality, your ego, that part of you that wants to keep you safe, is going to put brakes on every single time you go to do something different, new, radical. And while your intuition may pull you to be up on stage, to step in that spotlight, the ego is going to say, what will people think? The ego will say, well, what about this? The ego will give you every reason why you shouldn't be up on stage. And that's where NLP is that ultimate manifesting modality. Your intuition is pulling you to this thing. Now go clear this trigger. Now clear the fear of judgment. Now clear the fear of so on and so forth, so that happens effortlessly without getting on stage and choking up and the whole stress thing that happens for people. Any questions? Any Any ahas? Anyone want to share anything there? Okay, cleansing breath. Um, what we will do then is we'll come back at about 8:15, 8:20-ish, and yeah, we'll get onto that next little bit. And yeah, I'll see you again about 8:15-ish.
Thanks, Chloe.
You're on mute.
Good. How are you?
Yeah, everyone's coming back. Hey, Haley. Enjoying it so far? All the nerves spoke about earlier gone away?
Yeah.
Yeah, getting there.
Is it the opposite, Karen? Go, oh gosh, what have I got myself into?
I think it's I haven't been in that space for a while. So, it's putting your head back into that space. So it's yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, you've got the tools already. It's like noticing the triggers are like, oh, and just letting them shift through, right? Like if anything's coming up, taking you back to that chapter and drawing
But
a
also
line. It's a
trying to
new chapter.
I want to let go of what I know, because otherwise I'm going to, I feel I could be blocked. And so I need to try and just let go of all of that. I want to let go of what I've done in the past and look at this with really fresh eyes.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rick, that's Rick's motto, is he's the brain untrainer, like deliberately doing that. Forget about what you've been taught and like let's get into the next level.
Yeah. So I think that's going to be my block. It's trying to stop myself going there.
Yeah. Yeah, well, if it pops up, let me know. We can undo it.
I will, thank you.
Because you all just came in warm. That was awesome. Everyone's so enthusiastic at Tuesday night. Get the party started. Manny, is your little one already asleep? He's like, who's kidding?
No, she has gone to see the Train of Lights.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, yeah, mom and they planned the trip tonight.
Is that
no.
Adventures?
What was that, Rachel?
Is it Puffing Billy?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm in Emerald. It goes through.
You're in Emerald, Rachel?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, because I'm nearby there too, so it'd be fun to bump into you at Woolworths.
Here you go. Maybe.
Yeah, I had no idea the lights on Puffing Billy were on tonight. Cool. Everyone enjoying it so far? Yeah. What have I got myself into? Jitters have all gone. We're all cool. Anyone got any questions or any? Here's a question: is anyone working on any fun new projects at the minute? Oh, silence then.
I'm learning quantum jumping.
Oh, yeah, I could teach you quantum jumping. But yeah, we do quite. I've got a whole lot of. Yeah, do you like it, Manny?
I like it. I actually had a question to ask you. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So since I've started doing that, I've been getting a lot of headaches. Is it related to that?
Could be related. Yeah, there must be something. The quantum. How far ahead are you jumping? Or where are you? What are you jumping to?
Like trying to see the identical self of me, and they do different things in different worlds here.
Yeah.
So I've tried to jump like 6 or 7 times now.
Yeah.
And for 3 days I had like massive migraine.
Yeah, well, they don't. But yeah, I do quantum jumping with people. We can play with it one night, maybe after one of the training nights down the track. But it just says that there's part of you that's trying to control it, Manny. And so there's a level of resistance that's causing that friction with the headaches.
Control what? Sorry?
Yeah, we can go into it detail later or after the training, but it just says that there's a piece here that's trying to control it rather than go with it.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the only thing that would that's what stands out. Cool. We can come back to it later if you want.
Yeah.
So yeah, Lily will be back in a second, but yeah, we will move on. What I want to cover with this last hour, with you all is to talk about the human needs. Now, Tony Robbins is somebody who's done a TED talk on the 6 human needs. Is anybody familiar with it? Jump off. Anyone that's like, oh, I heard that this week, or Lucy, you've been in tune with everything else. Like, have you heard the TED talk on the 6 human needs this week? The human needs is something that is actually not part of the NLP syllabus, but I deliberately bring it in because I believe that it gives you a point of focus when the training stops and you can start to listen for what is actually motivating people. So what I'm going to do is go back to the slides, and yeah, Lily will be there shortly. If you have your let me just quickly check. Hands up, who's the people in the group who have their manual religiously, love it? Is there anybody here? Look at you, Sarah. Yeah. So I'll let you know when you definitely need to bring the manual, but you can tell from my slides, right? Like it's all here. We don't need, part of my training did not like to be looking at this and reading it to you. I'd rather it just be there. So yeah. Okay. So yeah, as I've already said, below we're going to go through the 6 human needs. The credit definitely goes to Tony Robbins. He is Tony Robbins, let me backtrack here. Tony Robbins and his fame, his fortune, he was the second student to learn NLP. So when Richard Bandler put out the certificates to learn NLP, the very first certificate went to Tad James, and then the next one went to Tony Robbins. And so you can again check him out on YouTube in the early days to where he is now. All of his fame comes from exactly what you're learning here in this training, and then where he's taken it, obviously. So I'm going to cover off that we all want to cover off the 6 human needs. And I want to point out that we all have these 6 human needs that are operating all the time. However, the question is, which need is driving you the most? Which need is driving the people around you the most? Because often there's that miscommunication around if you're in a partnership, let me just time out, stop here. I'm going to follow the slides because I'm doing that thing where I get all excited and go 2 steps ahead. We all have that human need. However, we all prioritize them differently. So the human needs that we're all operating from are certainty, variety, significance, connection, growth, and contribution. So as I said, we all share the 6 human needs, but we're going to prioritize them in a different order. Your top 2 needs are going to drive you to what you're currently creating in your life. And you can get your needs met in an empowering way and also a disempowering way. So again, why go into this? Why is this the first focus? Because the needs are going to give you an underlying reason on why we do what we do. There's going to be a reason why people parent the way they do, the reason why they spend the money the way they do, the way they argue, the way they stay in their problems, the reason why they're getting that growth and success. The number one reason why they're doing the strategy that they're doing is to get their needs met. Now, as coaches, when you start to identify and profile people, when you recognize what people's needs are, and they'll tell you from the pre-coaching questionnaire, they'll tell you from the goals, they will tell you in their conversation what their needs are. Once you know them, you can meet that person's needs if you want. You can predict their behavior. You can recognize what motivates them. You can work out what's their underlying fear, so where they put the brakes on. You can work through conflict easier. You can also assess, as I already sort of stated, you can assess if they're a good match for working with you, with what you do in your coaching business or any of the healing business that you do. And you can also coach people to create the success they desire by their standards when you identify their needs. So as a quick example, if I have a client who's struggling with energy, feeling drained, feeling burnt out, or on the other hand, I've got a client who's struggling with money, I now know that I need to better understand what's that underlying need to then being able to coach them to get what they want. So as a quick example, if I have a client who's struggling manifesting money in their business, so they're having problem with, money, profit, finances, when I work out that they have a need to be significant, I can quickly work out what they're choosing to say yes to and the opportunities that they're creating to get that need met of that significance, instead of the person who's saying yes to business growth. So working through the need to be significant is going to be the basis for most of the coaching with them, versus the person who's wanting to create that business growth. My approach is going to be very different. Is that making sense? Does anyone else find this stuff kind of interesting? Like oh, there's all these underlayers that are going on. So another quick example is if I've got a client who's struggling with knowing what she wants in life, a lot of indecision that's going on there, a lot of procrastination. When I work out that she's got a need for certainty, again, I can quickly work out that she's saying yes to things that are familiar, that are going to keep her safe, that's going to be familiar, to be able to get that need met, to say yes to that. It's going to be very difficult to get her to connect to her passion when the need for certainty is so, so strong. So again, working through the need for certainty is going to be the basis for most of the coaching until she reaches that threshold where she's actually ready, feeling safe enough to move into her, to connect to her intuition, her purpose, and so on and so forth. Is this making sense so far? Building up. Thank you, Lilo, for the nods. So we're looking here for the remaining hour, why we do what we do. Are you saying yes to things because they give you certainty? Are you saying yes to things because you're craving that variety? You're saying yes because you crave that significance, craving the connection, craving the growth, craving the contribution. I'm going to go through each one, hopefully quite quickly at a steady pace, but just start to think about you and the people that you're around. Which is your number one need? So the need for certainty is that absolute survival need. So people are going to say yes to things to avoid pain and gain people with the need for certainty are definitely going to be saying yes to things to avoid pain and gain pleasure. But avoiding the pain thing is a very big deal for people with that need for certainty. So anyone who's been without a job, health scare, felt the anguish of lack of money, there's a lack of certainty here, and their need is not getting met. They are going to drive up their anxiety pretty quick. People who have a need for certainty like to keep things the same way. They like to be in control. They will be quick to anger or get frustrated if something is changed unexpectedly. They often get their needs met in short term, but not so much that long term. And they like to get the last word in. This is very, very, very generalized profiling, but the intention for this is just to get you into that frame of mind to start to scan the people around you on what's actually motivating them. People with certainty don't cope well with indecision. The need for certainty will keep them in unhealthy relationships a lot longer, because their need for certainty is so strong that they will stay in that relationship because it's familiar, it's safe, they can anticipate what's the next move, compared to taking that risk and the not knowing. Does that make sense? Do we know people like that who stay in relationships a lot longer than they need to? Yes, Nicole, you going to say something? Oh, that's you. Oh, you darling. It's like if someone has a high need for certainty, they won't open up as much as open up in comparison. They won't open up as easily, as quickly to the person who needs love and connection. So someone who has that high need to be loved and that connection, can, again, we're being really general, be eager to people please and less independent. So that person who needs certainty will like to, especially in, I'll push pause here, especially in a coaching situation, they will give you little bits of information just to test and see how you respond before they go in for the deep end and the big vulnerabilities. And so you can sort of anticipate their need. And it's not that negative need to be in control, but it is that need for certainty, safety. Am I held here in this space without judgment? That sort of thing. Again, making sense?
Claire.
Yeah, tell me, Sarah.
Hello, it's Elise.
Elise, sorry.
That's okay. Will you go into like how you would ascertain the fact that their like certainty is their main focus or value? Or is that just like what you're picking up on as you're having a conversation?
Yeah, it's mostly the second one that you just said, starting at this early stage. It's about just recognizing and playing in your mind about, oh, what's motivating them more than the strategy on working that out. When it comes to the profiling of someone, a lot of that comes further at the end of the training, and a lot of it comes in master's side of things. But it's like when you hear then somebody's need for certainty, like does anybody in your world stand out to you, like that indecision, needing to be in control, don't like moving, taking risky moves? Do you, like, you don't have to talk about them, but like, just think, do people stand out to you?
Yeah.
In your world? And so with that, even though we haven't gone into the next one, can you see why if somebody gave them a holiday idea on like, let's go on lots of roller coasters or the big adventure, why they would be very quick to say, no, thank you.
Yeah.
And so when you know that somebody's need for certainty is so strong, then you can actually start to work with it instead of, because a lot of times that people who are coaches but not necessarily trained in NLP will push their idea of what's the right thing to do versus actually reading the person, understanding their approach and adjusting to what they need. Yeah. Cool.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Was that you, Nicole? Okay. Right. So yeah, you can definitely, all of us are going to have this kind of need somewhere, whether you give it like the full-blown 80% or only 5% in your world, but you can definitely gain certainty when eating comfort food, working out, holding on to old stories of the past. When I do this, it equals that. So you're getting that outcome. So again, I'm thinking of different people that I know, and I know that they hold on to those old stories, and the reason that they keep going over the old stories is because it gives them a sense of certainty. It tells me that underneath that there's that need to feel safe, instead of asking them to do something that's quite outside of the box. That need needs to be met first before we move too far ahead. Yeah, so like what I was asking Elise, who do you know in your world that demonstrates that strong need for certainty? Just thinking about that in your mind. We're going to move through to the next one to talk about the next one to give you a bit of that contrast. So the next one is uncertainty and the variety. So this is a different type of person that they get excited by the possibility of what's to come. They have this need for the unknown, surprises, change, new stimuli. These are the people who like to shift jobs, shift roles quite regularly, maybe more on the extrovert side compared to the previous one that we looked at. But this is the person who really has that strong need for extra stimulation. So they love surprises, but they love the surprises that are not problems. So you can gain variety in your world by talking to a friend, watching a new movie, doing a new training, a new holiday, a new restaurant. This doesn't have to be the variety of jumping off, doing a bungee jump, but this is noticing that when that need comes to the surface, it's like, okay, I'm craving variety. The disempowering version of getting this need met is by doing drugs, alcohol, being rebellious, escaping that boredom. So it can be that adrenaline junkie going on a hike or going on an adventure, or it can go down the disempowering way. Yeah. So yeah, this one's quite quick compared to the other one. I'm curious from anybody who wants to speak up, where in your life do you actually crave that sense of variety? Is it in your home life? Is it at work? Is it on your holidays? Like, has anyone got that need for variety? Elise is nodding.
Yeah, I think like work, I'm always like wanting a new project, something to learn, like, yeah, soak it up, kind of give me something new.
I'm curious then with what's more important to you, learning something new or experiencing something new?
That's interesting. Learning probably.
Yeah, okay, that's interesting. Yeah. So it's that variety, that value of knowledge and things.
Mm.
Yeah, cool. Does anyone else stand out to you where they have that need for variety? Yeah, Lily's nodding.
Claire, I was just going to say, it's interesting to me because I'm listening to that. So certainty is a massive thing, but then when I hear you talk about variety, I was that. So in a younger me, I was totally the variety uncertainty, and then I'm trying to think what happened that switched me so far to the opposite scale.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I mean, it may be unconscious, but like, is there anything that stands out to you that would have created that? Like death in the family, divorce, a unexpected surprise where you went, yeah, nah.
No, like there's different things that happened, but not in the time frame of when it swapped.
Yep.
So perhaps it is quite an unconscious thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take us way off track, but it actually also could be a past life trigger, if that's your thing.
Right. Actually, now that you say that, I feel like I was down because dad died when I was young. So I was always like, oh, I'm going to do all this because he didn't get to do it. And so I was doing all of the stuff and kept changing. And then at some point I went, oh, wait, everyone's saying, when are you going to have kids and why don't you settle down? And then I freaked out and went the opposite way. And then that didn't work either.
Yeah, exactly right. And then switching gears, and then the value and the need shifted, and now it sounds like there's a new shift that's happening. Possibly the need for growth is coming in a whole different chapter.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Cool. Thank you for that. The next one is feeling special, feeling unique. And I know from the good old days of, not wagging schools, but being home, being sick and watching Oprah. And what I noticed from Oprah is she always said how she got to the end of an interview and people would always say, like, how did I go? Like, and in other words, like, do I matter? Was that good? Am I significant? Am I special? So no matter how famous the person was, this is such a need and a drive for people to matter, to be significant. Again, doing really general stuff here. That people who are great healers tend to feel significant when they are giving and helping. People can feel significant from working hard and achieving, athletics, workaholics, taking a risk. You can make yourself more significant by having a wall of certificates and credentials to be more superior. Like, it's that level of significance. There's no judgment there, but there's that need to be important, to matter. So many people feel significant, but anyway, I won't be mean, but like my mother comes into this one. Many people feel significant by always having a problem and a drama, an ongoing trauma bonding scenario. They have this need to be, they actually self-sabotage. They create an illness to be important because everybody stops what they're doing to tend to that person. So people can, if you think about people that you know in your world who do that trauma bonding, or people in the past who did that trauma bonding side of things, the venting at each other, then they're getting this need met by venting. You can gain significance by tattoos, standing out. I noticed that there was a chapter in my daughter's life where she was coming home with massive, beautiful, stunning tattoos. And it was like, okay, like what's going on in her world where she's needing to be significant by expressing herself this way. It just meant that when I knew this about her, I could reframe my questions to better understand what was going on. I have little tattoos, and it's not a thing of low self-worth. We're not talking about that, but we're talking about ways that people express themselves to feel special, to feel unique. The downside, the disempowering side of getting your needs met through significance is violence, bullying. The person with the gun in the room at that time, all eyes are on them. They are the most significant person at that moment. The person who's aggressive has all eyes on them in that moment. They're the most significant. So biochemically, men will die or kill to feel significant. There's that testosterone dominance. And people will have a child to be significant. So again, really, really, really general, but it's just understanding when you're setting goals for yourself or setting the intention, which need are you getting filled? So yeah, again, I think we'll skip this one here, asking the group, but just thinking about the people that you know and how they get that need of significance met. Connection, the need for connection, a little bit different to love, but again, we're being really general here. That connection is that strong feeling of closeness, that union with someone or something else. You can have connection by being in nature, meditation, making love, admiring art, being creative. They're all that empowering ways to have connection. And again, connection is a little bit different to the significance one, but you can also create connection from being sick as well. And you can create connection from having problems. So they overlap. Most people have a need for love, but will settle for connection. And that love that we're talking about is that unconditional love from your dog, that love for that newborn baby, that love for your children. Like it's that really strong, just adoring them for all warts and all. So women are biochemically wired to love and nurture. Humans wouldn't exist if this wasn't part of our wiring for connection. And again, the nervous system is wired to get this need met, to have that connection, to create and populate the human existence. So yeah, again, I'm going to skip this one, but just thinking about the way that you connect, and I should actually put a slide there. A lot of the disempowering connection comes from that codependency. When you see that in clients, that need to be needed, the need, instead of it being a want, it's a need for that connection. Any questions so far? Nearly finished. Then the next need here is the need for growth, progress, happiness. So if you're not progressing, progressing is one of the fundamental parts of happiness there. So it's that expansion of capacity, capability, understanding. So those who have that foremost core need in growth are always striving to be better and to learn more. They're always good at their jobs, but tend to move on quickly as they believe that they've reached that full potential. They move on to that next thing. Through their constant striving for betterment ensures that they will never be bored, and they can lean on that side of perfectionism, and neglect rest and relaxation. So growth does have a disempowering part of it when you're just on that go, 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 go without resting. So people who are focused on achieving that goal, getting into that hyper focus, going down that rabbit hole, need to make sure that they also balance that out with that rest. People, the disempowering part, if you don't have growth, people will feel depleted, depressed, suicidal if they're not, don't have that meaning, they're not moving towards something, they're not having that progress in their world. And yeah, I would say, like, does anyone want to speak to their need for growth? Anybody like notice that that's a pattern in their world? Nothing stands out. It's all good.
I feel like it has been for me in the last, well, constantly really. And sometimes I feel like, yeah, I have to really be conscious of actually stepping away from the focus on that stuff and giving like, because you just start to implode in your head, you know. Yeah.
Hayley, were you like me when you were like in that study mode and it was like study, 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 and then it was a big gap to like, hey, I'll work with clients. Like, it was to the toolkit. Like, were you like that? Because I know I was.
What was that, a gap between, or?
Yeah, I had to work through, let's do Reiki, let's do theatre healing, let's do holistic counselling, let's do until somebody coached me and say, okay, now go work with clients.
Yeah, like I'm pretty much have come to that point now, and that's why I'm at this precipice that I'm about to step off. Like, but it was like that. It was like, oh, okay, once I've done my Reiki, then I'll be ready, you know, then I'll be, and then I was like, just fucking do it, just do it. Like, because you start to get really frustrated in yourself. Like, if you it's not like, it's one thing to learn all the things, but then if you're not actually applying them to what you want to, why you did them in the first place, that's really frustrating. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. With that growth side of things playing out such a strong role, would you say that like that's one of your higher needs is growth, or was there any others that stood out?
Well, it's funny because with that certainty and uncertainty, like I would say that like my fears around my business come from a need for certainty, like, you know, a need to know what's going to happen. Like, that's a big thing. But then on the other hand, I am one of those, like, at my core, and especially like when I was younger, I liked uncertainty. Like, I thrive in that, you know, I did. And so it's, I was conflicted between I was sort of like, oh, I sort of swing really between those two spaces. Yeah.
Did you find then going into more the metaphysical side of things, you would like, did anybody talk you out of going into the metaphysical side of things? Like, oh, that doesn't give you solid, certain security income. Like, did anyone try to talk you out of it?
Funny thing is that probably from a very, very young age, naturally, I was into that spiritual space, right? Naturally, I had imaginary friends that I now realize probably was not actually my imagination, but then just got conditioned through life to think that I needed to do a proper job. And so I went and did agricultural science so that I could sell chemicals, and hated it. I love the course, like I love my uni because everyone loves uni, that's fun, right? But then when I got out into the world, I was like, I don't like this at all. Like, and so then it's taken me, then I just have gradually realized that that was like I was so far from where I naturally,
Yeah.
would.
And then and so that's that, go to uni, have a safe, secure job. That's other people's, fears and limitations showing up, and then you've managed to shift that to have that growth that's coming forward now. It's pretty exciting.
And like the learning, like I think that's the thing about this stuff, is because I love it so much, I just can't get enough. And then it's like, but then you have to still, there's other aspects too in your life that need you. Yeah.
Yeah, to go play in the human world. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Does this resonate? Haley's story resonating with a lot of people here? Like, go down the corporate, safe, secure job, but actually now can play in the different world. Yeah. I can see even from that the coaching will be, okay, notice the sense of the need for security, the need for control. Is that fear actually yours? And like, where did that come from? What were the benefits from taking that on board? I could go into all of that stuff, but this is where it's just starting to listen and identify that the need, is operating, and the question is, does it have to? So I'll go on to that last one. Thank you for sharing, Haley. Put you on the spot with some heavy duty questions then. The last one here is that contribution. So that sense of service, focusing on helping, giving, and to support others. So we're all driven to make that difference. We all have that need to share wonderful experiences, to contribute, to be part of something bigger than that's just you. So even when we have all of the financial and survival needs met, this is usually like Tony Robbins, this is when his need for, and Oprah, their need for contribution kicks in. So this is their driving force. So the contribution can become negative when, dad is just a cliche kind of example, is so driven to contribute and be the provider by being the worker, rather than actually contributing to being at home. So that need and that identity and that to be that provider is fantastic. It's celebrated, but at the same time, there may be a lack of balance there. And so the contribution need is actually going sour in other directions. So yeah, there's not too much on the contribution side of things. It's not that need to contribute. Yeah, it's beautiful. I'm just thinking of like my grandmother who had 20, 30 grandchildren, and she just had such a need to contribute and make people around her feel important. So yeah, is there any questions when it comes to just this very general idea about recognizing people's needs? This obviously is the first night, just introduction side of things. When it comes to this training finishing and going out throughout the week, I do encourage you to play with, if you've got any co-workers, and start to play in your mind about what's actually driving them. And it's not necessarily, we're not going to start coaching them, but just start to switch on that curiosity about what does that mean, and therefore what impact does that have on you? Like with that people watching we talked about earlier, it's starting to get inquisitive and curious. Make sense?
Claire, I just have a question around the difference between variety and growth, because my perspective was, with variety comes, you're trying something different, you're getting the growth from that. So I feel like I might get confused with those if they show up in people.
Yeah, that's a good question. So with variety, let me go down we're going to go into NLP Masters on our first night. In NLP Masters, we talk about meta programs, which is the really detailed stuff of what drives people with their needs. Some people will have a need and a meta program that plays where every 2-ish years they need variety. And if you put them into a corporate job where they were in the same office doing the same thing day in, day out, they would generate some level of depression, because their need for variety to switch jobs, switch roles, switch gears is so strong in them. And the sour side of that is because that meta program, that need is running so strong, even in relationships, that person will go from one woman to the other, one man to another, because of that need for variety is so strong. We're talking really like general for teaching purposes. And so the need for variety is different to growth because there's not really an end goal in sight. So the growth side of things, when I created my business, I had the goal for it to do what I wanted it to do. And the growth has been to create that. Whereas the variety will be oranges, bananas, grapes. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Do you know anybody who has that really strong need for variety?
Me. When you said leaving a job every 2 years, I was like, 4 months seems to be the pattern. But from my perspective was like when I first saw these, I was like, oh, okay, I think growth is my one. But then I was like, oh, actually, no, I think it's variety. But yeah, with a sort of self-growth, I guess, or experience is more the word.
Yeah.
So
And
that
you
makes
can have two that are operating quite strongly. When the last group, when we got to the needs, people, there was one particular person who's like, oh my God, this course just paid for itself. I now understand my mother. And she was like, you telling me if I just make my mum feel significant, she'll get off my back and I can go do my thing. And I was like, pretty much. And she was like, and it was just like, really? And it was like, and she's had a wow of a time. Manipulating is not the right word, but manipulating her mum, like, here, mum, make you feel significant. Now she's going off to do her thing. So we need a different human word for manipulation if anybody's got one. But that's how you can use this to have that strong relationship. There's respect there, but now instead of fighting with her mum, this is, I need variety, I need make mum feel good about and significant about her garden. Now go do the woo-woo course and everybody's happy. Like, I'm being pretty simplistic, but does that make sense?
Yeah.
Any ahas from that? Anybody's in their relation, like they're going like, oh, wow, yeah. Gee, Shelley. Yep. And so even when you start to embrace more of your spiritual side and noticing, even this is I go way off track, but like even with somebody who wants to connect in with their guides, Claire, help me connect in with my guides. They're telling me that they have a need for certainty, that somebody, something, some authority outside of them has the blueprint. Tell me what I should be doing so I have that certainty. And I really rattle their world when I say you're actually the CEO. When you decide what you want, that's when the guides will shuffle and create to be able to help you create that. They're not going to, well, you need to go marry Frank and then you need to do, like, that's, so anyway, so that's where clients who have that strong need for certainty, tell me who my guides are. And they're like, yep, but let's work over here. Let's work over here. So does that sort of give a bit more understanding on how I play with this stuff? Yep. Lilo, have you got clients like that with the control, the certainty, the brides, like
I do.
I don't
yeah.
have any words for that, but you know what I'm talking.
Yeah, I'm also looking at myself. I definitely can relate to a lot of them myself. So that's pretty funny. Yeah.
Yeah, don't take it too seriously. Just notice it, right? You're like, oh,
Yeah,
I'm
I am
doing that thing
noticing, I'm like,
again.
oh, that's definitely a quality I have. Definitely with the tattoo, tattoo one back in the days, yeah, to feel significant. That's funny.
Yeah, and the thing is, when that need comes to the surface for me, which doesn't happen very often, but my husband David are like, that need for certainty right now, like you might want to do all of the things on the weekend, but please know this is active. And he's like, all right, let's get that need met. Now can we go have the play on the weekend? Do you know what I mean? Like if you know that it's active, you can now do something about it. Oh. Okay, I don't think there's any more slides that are important, except to say, I will put it on the Facebook page if anyone wants to play. There is a questionnaire if you want to find out which are your top two. Yeah, it's there. It's not yeah, my intention to bring this to your awareness is again to start to profile people, recognize other people's needs, recognize their attempts to get their needs met. And then, yeah, just start to notice between now and next week what you've been paying attention to, what need is driving you. So that concludes our very first night. I hope you've been able to like take on board some new aha moments. Next week when we come together, I'll be transparent with you the whole way through. We're going through NLP presuppositions. It is quite dull, but we will bring the fun and the sparkle to it so that we can get to the processes quicker. So next week is all about the presuppositions of NLP, which Rick would have spoken about in the pre-training. And yeah, and then we'll get to the fun stuff. So is there any other questions? Anything?
Sorry, Claire, how did you say that we do the questionnaire? Is it in the Facebook group, that link?
That link that I just put, if I'll do a post-it note now, but yeah, I put all it, basically the way that I work, I'll just write that down now before I forget.
Yeah.
All of the extra fun stuff I put in the Facebook group. Some people love it, some people hate it. Claire, stop it with the post. But my intention is to put it there. Whether you look at it or not, give me a thumbs up if you liked it or comment or whatever. But yeah, that's what I use the Facebook group for. Is go down that rabbit hole if you want.
Yeah.
What else was on our list, Shelley, for like on the Facebook? There was the Tony Robbins. There was something else. I'll remember later.
Yeah, no, I'm keen to do that questionnaire.
I'm keen to hear which one comes out of the top need.
Same. I'll share it in the Facebook group once I've done it.
That means I'll have to do it now and put it in mine. Anyone else got any questions? Oh, good. So next week we don't need the manuals again. It's a conversational night. So yeah, I will love you and leave you. I'll put this up on the replay page and see you same time next week. Oh, Manny, if you've got any questions, stay on. I can answer it for you, but I'll love you and leave you all.
Thanks so much.
Thank
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Claire.
Great to meet
See you
everyone.
later.
Thanks so
Thank
much,
you.
Sarah.
See ya.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
So, Manny, you've been quantum jumping.
Yeah.
We're not even up to that bit yet with training.
Oh, so we covered that too?
Well, I do it in my one-on-one sessions, so I know a lot about it.
Okay, yeah. So is it related? I was just curious. I just felt because the headaches were like kind of unusual. Like I just woke up in the middle of the night and with the massive headache, which hasn't happened. Like
Oh, I've got to stop recording. Sorry, I didn't want people to hear your privacy.